Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of How Did We Get Here? Better Than Your Average is the channel. How Did We Get Here is the show. I'm your boy, Jay Carter. My man at all times, my right-hand man, but to my left, is always heard and never seen, my man Skeens.
What up?
How you feeling today, man?
I'm good. What about yourself?
Man, it's all good, baby. Just glad to be back. Another show, another topic or two, or three or four. You know what I'm saying? The feedback so far has been, just really cool, man. People getting at us and, appreciating the content that we're putting out thus far. So, man, we got a lot more coming, a lot more, man. But before I get into all of that, happy birthday, my dude. The secret one.
I appreciate you.
Happy birthday to the secret one, man. He turned 40, shorty.
Hold on, man. 40,
shorty, my dude, man.
Government intel. Takashi over him.
Some of y'all told this before, but this dude has literally been there since, my mother was on the way to the hospital and he was outside of the stomach, rubbing on her stomach. So, that part of the reason me and this dude have had this bond, all these years, even though we stayed, traveling with the military and stuff like that. Whenever we would go home and visit and stuff, me and this dude spent even though we stayed so far apart, it seemed like we spent a whole bunch of our childhood together. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because we was always home for 4-day weekends or 4th of July or whatever it was.
And picked up just like it was yesterday.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, again, salute. It's funny. My brother's birthday was the other day. Brian, I'm messing the date up. Was it the 20th, 21st? I'm getting my days mixed up. But anyway, his birthday, he turned 41. Yep. Then it was my godmother's birthday. Then I saw one of my homies I used to train with at the gym. His son turned 1. One of my homeboys from Germany, his son turned 1. I was just like, man, May, and then Trey turned 7 on Tuesday the 26th, man. So
May is a packed month. I know quite a few people that birthdays are all around that same time.
I'm just wondering, what is it about May where people was shooting the club up in May? Well, to make it a May time, but
going towards the winter. And,
is that what it is?
Yeah,
maybe you going towards winter, so you.
It's cold outside.
Yeah. Let me. Anyway. But anyway, y'all. Of course, we never want to start a show without saying peace and blessings to everybody, man. We know we still in things are opening up.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. Me and Skeens was just talking about this. He just went to this. Hey, if you're out there, I'm not a healthcare professional by any means, but if you're going to wear the mask and you have your mouth or your nose exposed, you just canceled the purpose of wearing that joint.
The mask is nothing other than jewelry.
Right.
or I take it back, it's an accessory.
Right, an accoutrement. Yeah. So please cover your whole joint up if you're going to wear it.
Yeah, because I see people out with the mask, nose exposing, like, are you wearing it just for the look?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I see people, they want to talk to you. Hey, brother, nah, man.
But also, wearing the mask and going out to eat.
Hey, who out there is wearing their mask?
Because
and then,
if you're going out to eat.
Are you putting it up and down between bites? No.
Either way it go, it's a waste.
I'm just saying, I know people aren't doing it.
It's less exposure, but if you're going to sit there and eat, the air is still circulating.
Right, most definitely. Topic for today, we'll get to it momentarily, is title of the show. You'll probably see it'll be something to the effect of when is the time right, or something like that we'll get into momentarily. But before we get into that, what has been your thoughts on the versus battles so far? And for those that don't know,
it's a perfect topic.
If you been, for some of us that are into music more on the urban side, R&B and hip hop, Swiss Beats and Timberland, both producers, basically put this whole deal together where you have artists from the same genre. You try to put people together that are in the same, R&B, neo soul, hip hop. Kind of was out at the
A
same
competitive
time,
battle.
and they do 20 songs where they're playing them on Instagram Live,
Yeah,
and they call it versus the versus battle. So I know they're talking about the Jagged Edge and
112.
112 was going to happen.
I think that would be cool.
They saying maybe M versus DMX.
I love him, but I don't really want to hear his music in a versus. The reason why I say that, I don't think his music is like battle music.
Yeah, I've seen some people that were like, that they want to see that, but when I listened to M music, it wasn't. Again, it was for his lyrical prowess. He had a ability to tell these crazy stories and stuff like that, but it wasn't for. I'm like, I think M is going to kill it in a versus battle for me personally.
Yeah, I guess a lot of it is based off of what are you looking for.
Yeah, and everybody is looking for something different in the battle, but the one that's been the most recent one was Nelly versus Luda, which for me, I feel like Luda bodied him.
I didn't watch it, but
I skimmed through it, but I mean, I like
a lot of people
to me that's no competition.
Same thing. Even though Nelly was a bigger seller,
Yeah.
in terms of the music he put out, I didn't think it was a competitive battle based off the type of music they put out.
Right.
Because I know they both put out club music or urban type music, but Luda, the type of rapper Luda is versus the type of rapper that Nelly is. I mean, you could argue say Nelly kind of helped push some of today's music with the whole melodic rapping.
The singy type situation, yeah.
But with the whole versus thing, I think to a certain extent we're almost getting to a point. I hope it don't get diluted.
Right. I agree.
Because it is cool that that you're shining light on people giving them their roses while they're alive. So like Jonte Austin, people never knew who he was.
Right. And he been writing.
Yeah. So, and these are people that are legends. I don't want to get to a point where you just start throwing people out just for the sake of doing it.
Hold on, y'all. This is show you how live we are. Hello, my dear. How are you? Hello? Hello? Can you not hear me? Okay, well, I was trying to let the people hear you because I had you in my audio here, but me and Mario are recording right now.
And don't say anything incriminating.
Please don't say anything incriminating.
Because I will be a star.
Who are you? Everybody, it's my beautiful, wonderful mother.
What would I say incriminating, son?
I don't know, but I will be the star witness.
That's a good answer, Your Honor. But yeah, we record right now.
Okay, FaceTime. Where are the kids?
They're at the in-laws with Liz.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, call me back then.
All right, love you.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mario.
Anyway, but for me, I think, like you say, Nelly pop in popularity wise, you know what I'm saying? He was cool, but we never considered Nelly to be anywhere in the same stratosphere as Luda as far as bars and rapping and because me and you were talking, you would put Luda in that same vein as Busta,
Missy.
Redman, Missy,
even through
stuff
Luda
like that.
versus Missy, I think that would have been a better.
Yeah, that would have really been
because
a really
of the
dope
type
battle,
of music and the energy and how artistic both of them are.
Yeah.
But the Nelly thing, then come to find out that they had, according to Ali, some different beef on the back end that come way back when we never really knew.
Right.
I guess because we weren't privy to that. Plus, I never really paid attention to it or could see it. But hey, what do we know? Now the question is this, right? Part of the verses that we talked about. I think that they missed an opportunity with Versus.
How so?
Because cool, as we started with Swiss and Timberland, I think that they missed the opportunity by having their own platform to present these different battles.
By not having it.
By not having their
Yeah.
own platform. So part of, as we talk about the culture, we don't own anything. Now we appreciate Instagram and Facebook and things like that for giving you the platform to present yourself, but let's not act like Facebook and Instagram don't get anything from this as well.
Right, absolutely.
Because the talent is there. The talent is what keeps the eyes and the viewership, which allows them to sell advertisement.
Right.
So we're constantly presenting these different opportunities, and you had Babyface and Teddy Riley. It was like, I think they said it got over 2 million people that went in and out.
Yep.
People clown Teddy Riley
Right.
for the audio on the first
First time. Yeah.
But people didn't realize Teddy Riley's business acumen was actually on point. Because what Teddy was doing, he was also streaming it on his platform.
Right.
Now, I think he didn't realize him not being really big on Facebook. On Instagram, he didn't realize the audio aspect, but his mindset was right. He said, "Hey, I'm going to get people to my website that I own. I own the content. I'm going to present my music, my catalog, my merch.
Right.
Instead of now, I'm going to piggyback off Instagram, but I'm going to bring them to my location."
Right.
The execution was wrong, but his mindset was right. So I would say we should start using these platforms just like how you watch on Instagram. They have different videos. They'll play a certain amount of time, then it says live, and you got to click to keep watching.
Right. Yeah.
So I think what they should have did, use Instagram as a springboard, but then when you click live or click the button, it would then push you over to either one of the participants' website, which in terms you're building their platform. You give them an opportunity to have ownership and stake in this, because only thing we're doing, we're giving value to Instagram, and still, once again, we have no ownership. Now it's cool to celebrate,
Right.
and it's not always about from a monetary standpoint, but you do want to have stake. They say you want to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
So that allows us to build our different platforms. Even like my little brother, he raps. Shout out to my little brother J to the 3.
Yes, sir.
One of the main things I talk to him about is ownership. So even he does utilize Instagram, and he's not on there a lot, but his website is set to house all of his stuff.
Okay. Right.
So even though you're using Instagram and Facebook, but his website houses his merchandise.
Right.
It houses his music.
Right.
He has ownership and distribution, because he's learning that you have to be self-sufficient. Because eventually, one of these days, these record labels, as we see it now, the labels are becoming less and less.
Yes, the record that formula is, it's a dinosaur formula now.
So it's just a matter of time. If you see a big artist, say for instance Drake, say, you know what, I will have an exclusive licensing directly with Apple. There would be a domino effect. One by one, other big artists start leaving record labels and say, I don't need you.
Right.
So you create that partnership that you have a big distribution. You're your own entity.
Right.
Now, you can do like Joe Rogan, as we
talk about licensing.
Yes, as we talk about how the Versus thing is, hindsight being 2020, Joe said, hey, I'm going to license my content.
Yes.
So with these Verses, we could have licensed that to Instagram, keep the ownership, and actually get some stake in it.
Right.
Which now they have to give back. Even doing the whole the social distancing when people stuck in the house, you could have did as little as said, hey, advertisements. Hey, Nike, you want advertisement on this?
Right.
It's going to cost you.
Right.
And it's not just the money given directly to the artist. You say, hey, put some money into the inner city.
Yeah.
Start a midnight basketball league.
Yeah.
And for them, that's the type of marketing that they can't buy.
No.
To allow them to be able to attach themselves to whoever that superstar is. And because we push the culture, anything that we touch moves.
Well, it's the same thing as that.
Think about heel figure. Once we start watching heel, once we start wearing heel figure.
Yeah.
When the last time you saw Tommy, other than before they got their little deal with Lil Yachty, you didn't see heel figure for 20 years.
Well, it's the same thing. A lot of these guys are smart enough, technology wise, where they make the Instagram, the Facebook, the whatever. But as far as knowing what's cool and what moves culture in that way, they don't know it. And so they need you. So you have to leverage that ability that you have to move culture like that.
Look, as little as when Jay-Z says, "Stop wearing, I wear button up, stop wearing jersey." You didn't see another jersey, and we all had tons of jerseys.
I was looking at an old picture of us, and I had a straight up New York Yankee fitted on, a button up. It was from the Gap. I had on some jeans and some white Air Force Ones. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Now, at that time, I was like, "Yo, I was influenced by, you know what I'm saying, by Jay." You know what I'm saying?
But that's part of the culture, and
absolutely.
Even you saw people start wearing when Migos started wearing Versace. Start seeing everyone Versace. I know their shares went up.
Well, dude, I forgot. I think by Joe Rogan signing this deal with Spotify.
They went up 11% in one
something
day?
Like that, yeah, 9, 12, something like that. But if y'all don't, basically, Joe Rogan is considered the #1 podcast guy in the world, and he's been doing this thing on his own, really,
11 years,
for 11 years. And he makes this deal with Spotify, this licensing agreement and partnership, and they've been throwing the different numbers around, but from what I've heard, all things depend between what he gets now and on the back end, what we saying, Joe gonna make
250 to 300 mil.
Some, top end somewhere around 300 mil, something like that.
Yeah, but that also shows understanding your value.
Absolutely.
Because this license is 3 years. If you don't like it, he snatches stuff back.
Yep.
Or he's up for renegotiation again.
Yep.
Now
absolutely.
He can create a bidding war, because if he says, "Look what I did for Spotify," you went up 11% in one day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If Spotify continues to go up a couple, maybe 20% because of him.
Yeah.
You don't think Apple won't come knocking on his door, or maybe Facebook says they want an exclusive show?
Right.
But that allows him to leverage himself.
Right.
Well, betting on himself, and that's why I talk about the verses. I think that I get the whole celebration perspective, but having the business mindset of saying, "Hey, we own this." Mm-hmm. Now we're celebrating the achievements, but if you want to be a part of this celebration, you got to bring something to the table. There's no different if I go to a barbecue. I don't go empty-handed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then you may not need anything, but you appreciate the gesture. Mm-hmm. So with those different businesses, I don't understand why. Well, I guess I can take. They were just. I don't think it was really on their mind at the time.
Right.
But thinking back, they really could have leveraged these different events, and every event you could have got a different sponsor.
Yep. And
even if you didn't need the money, you could have used that money to basically create a stimulus. Mm-hmm. I remember for people in need. I know T.I., I think it was a local pastor in Atlanta, and somebody else. Mm-hmm. They put money together to bail people out that couldn't get out of jail. They were stuck.
Yeah, it was another pastor, Huey P. I forget his name, and then Jamal Bryant. At one point, I remember just talking about leveraging your power. I think they had something when people couldn't pay their electric bill, where they was even, did some stuff with the utility company out there.
So you can use that power.
Yep.
You can leverage your brand.
Yep.
Because as I say, these different companies, they need you. Mm-hmm. Anything, as I say, anything we touch moves. If we don't like it, no one else will.
Right. Yep.
So I think hopefully going forward, they will eventually start creating their own platform, or get a licensing deal. If you want it on Instagram, you're going to license my music. You don't have ownership, because if you don't, a lot of people don't read the fine print. Sorry, but the fine print.
Yeah.
But they own that content.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we should start leveraging it and start licensing.
It's just understanding your power, right? You know what I'm saying, and understanding your power, your worth, and just belief in self of knowing how many smart people that we. And I think I know more than I know other people that have said it, but I've seen something where TD Jakes was talking about the power of building strong teams.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that essentially it's easier. I would rather be a person that something to the effect has a small piece of a big pie than trying to manage that big pie by myself and not being able to do all of it well, essentially. Is basically what he was saying. So it's so many of you guys, us together, and to pull from one of my movie, we got a collective of size.
But it also allows us to tell our story our way.
Our way. And I've been critical of his films sometime, the execution of it, but Tyler Perry formula is so dope and beautiful.
Yes.
That we all should be following that formula and that pattern.
Well, one of the questions is, why did it take so long?
We had that conversation all the time. If you think about all of the these names always pop in my head, but the Denzels of the world, the Eddie Murphys, the Dave Chappelle's, the Chris Rocks, I could go, just on and on and on. You could think of the people in our culture that have been doing movies and film, Spike Lee's, the Tyler Perry's, and my man that produces all the films, Will Packard, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. Just think of everybody that we know. If we had the mindset that we're gonna build studios where we're making films and content, because a lot of times what happens is that because other people in power, they can control the narrative of how we look, how they tell our stories. But if we had the idea to practice a little bit of delayed gratification, right?
Or we could have took the Michael Jackson approach, which Michael said, right? "Hey, I'll take a little bit of less,
That's what delayed gratification is. But absolutely,
I want steak.
That's it."
And by the time Michael died, Michael owned 51% of Sony.
Absolutely.
So we laughed. We thought Michael was dumb.
Thought he was crazy,
but Mike was he was slow grinding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prince,
another one.
You saw way back in the day, Prince was saying slave.
We
thought we didn't really understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But he was saying, if you don't own your masters, you're a slave. And in the music industry, not owning your masters actually is called slave.
Well, yeah, when they would print up way back they would press up albums. You know what I'm saying? So everybody would cut their album, and you had that original, which was called the slave, and then you duplicate everything else off of that. When they would cut records and stuff like that. So that's the idea is in order for us to have ownership, know our worth, have ownership, control our narrative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And with the controlling, having that ownership, and like we were talking about last week.
But it also changes the lens which people see us.
Right.
Because when others tell our story, or when a limited few of us tell our story, talk about us, people that don't know us think that's the only type of person that is.
Right, absolutely.
And we come as many shades and colors that we come in.
Yeah, and our stories are so diverse, man. Yes. We have a diverse story base that we come from.
So some people may see a certain type of movie and you think, they all are ghetto, they all are loud. Right. Mm-hmm. But then when you meet someone who can actually articulate or talk about different things, the first thing they say, "You seem so different."
Right. Well, no.
What does that mean?
Right. What is it? We're actually like Dave Chappelle said it best. We all got basically ghetto we can talk, and then we got interviewed that we can talk.
And then when people say that, some of us, our self-esteem goes like, "Yes, I am different." And then some of us, like myself, somebody tell me that, I kind of get offended because that lets me know that you haven't taken the time to actually get to know us.
Boom, you took me somewhere else. But what you're making me think about is way back, y'all. Me and wifey, before we got married, we went to a marriage retreat, right? And I'm trying to think. It may have been one or two other black folks in there, but I was the only black guy with dreads and stuff like that in there. And they were bringing up some some biblical principles and marriage kind of principles and topics. And I didn't want to be that guy that was like answering all the questions, so I was holding back. People weren't speaking, and then I would chime in with this, chime in with that, chime in. And this nice lady pulled me to the side, and she's like, "I just never thought you would have said stuff like that." I'm like,
But and that goes to when other people tell our stories. So
right,
you can be offended when they do it, but you can.
Right.
But it also shows you that they haven't been exposed to anything other.
Well, I look at it, Skeens, is that sometimes I'm going to be the person that's going to show folks again that way that we can be, that's diverse, and that I didn't know. Okay, now I'm interacting with people of color a different way. You know what I'm saying? But what this takes me, one last thing I was thinking about with the ownership, how me and Skeens were talking about again, and it's funny, we were talking about Joe Biden the other day. He's in all this mess now.
Yeah.
I guess Biden said something to the if you don't know if you're gonna vote for Trump or not, or something. I have to look up the quote, y'all, but don't quote me. But he said something to the effect: if you don't know that if you're not gonna vote for Trump, if you're gonna vote for Trump and not him, then you quote unquote you ain't black. If you don't know that. So now he's had to come back and already retract his statement.
That goes to, I know that they had a semi-viral moment with Dame Dash and Adam 22.
Oh yeah.
Dame asked Adam, he said something like, "Do you think it's okay for a white man to tell black men what they want or how?"
Right. Yep.
And Adam really couldn't answer that, and
he tried to backtrack it, and even his people on his show told him like, "Yo, you said that though."
And he tried to, and he kept going to different, talk about different things, and Dame was like, "No, you still haven't answered my question."
Yeah.
How do you? Because the topic was something dealing with Kanye, but he kept asking, "How do you think that it's okay for a white man to tell black people what we want or what we should think?"
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit. It is kind of odd when you think about that, but I would like for us to become maybe one reason why they don't know more about us, maybe because less of us are willing to open up.
Well,
because you have that defense mechanism up, because you have a preconceived notion about how they preconceive you.
Boom. Here, one of my little mans, he posed a question today on social media. The whole question about can black people actually be racist? And recently, I used to have the thought that people have categorized the definition that black people can't be racist because we're not in a position of power where we can stop people from getting things. We don't own. But I believe, Skeens, that we can have a racist mindset, but more importantly, that we all can be prejudiced. We all exhibit prejudice.
Yes. Right
here, and here's where the slope becomes slippery. And if we're all honest with ourselves, we do have prejudice. Every single one.
It's no different than your preference of who you want to be with.
Right.
Or the people you want to be around.
You're prejudiced. We all have preconceived notions. And as me and Skeens, when you get to know us in the real world, we have controversial comedic statements where we talk noise, but we're equal. Our mamas get it. Our family get it. Everybody gets it.
You have an opportunity to be a victim of comedy.
So the reality, and here's where it becomes, where, like you said, the reason why we really don't know each other better is because we go off of our preconceived notion and don't go that extra step to have, as we always talk about, real meaningful dialogue, right? So we hate when people look at us and determine who we are with just our skin color or what we're dressed in. But then we in turn that same thing around and do it to others and feel that it's justified.
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying? But that's the part of us that's tricky and messed up like that. You don't want people to be prejudiced against you, but you feel like you have some extra strength and power to see somebody and determine who they are just off of looking at them. It's all wrong.
And women, you do it too. Because a lot of you, well, there's a healthy percentage of you all that would be in a group with each other, and you would see a woman walk in. The first thing you do is look her up and down.
Yeah.
Don't say that you've never done it. You've never did it before, because you have.
Right. And I've, again, all the homegirls and the time I've spent around, I can remember sitting at work, and especially Mario, and y'all admit it, it's especially goes another route if the young lady is attractive and she garners a certain level of male attention. I've been sitting at work, said attractive woman walks in, hey, how you doing, girl? What's up? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, Jay, da, 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 da. And you'll see girls that's like, did you see how she did that? And I'm like, did what? She just walked in and sat down at her desk.
And
you know what I'm saying?
And that goes to, as we talk about the division.
Right.
So
here we go.
Now that
here
woman,
we go.
When she sees that, her guards are naturally up.
Yep.
So anything that you thought about her, that has been validated because of her defense mechanism.
That's really what she's exhibiting in that moment.
Yes.
She's not at her best self because she can feel that energy. She's not at who she really is.
Yeah.
Her defense, like you said, her defenses, and with the part of it that kills me is, I love the women's movement and all that, but I'm like, I know so many women don't really rock with other women like that.
Yeah, because a lot of my homegirls, the first thing they say, I don't have a lot of women friends because women
I have
people too
so
much drama.
many female friends that say that because women are in the drama. And the other part of it too that's wild to me is that here, check this out, y'all. Typically with men, Mario, Skeens, if I rock with you on the game or basketball or boxing, I leave it right there at that place of commonality, right?
Yeah.
I've seen oftentimes with women, their level of commonality is really just limited and very small, and that's fine. But then they try to carry it. Well, we like talking about this, but maybe I should try to take this friendship further and get you more into my personal life. When really you just supposed to rock with her on that thing, and that's it.
It's no different as the statement as they talk about some people are seasonal people.
Okay.
Some people are meant to be in your life momentarily.
You see what I'm saying?
So that moment of y'all rocking at a concert, that's about all it really should be.
That's it. We don't need to go no further than this.
And it shouldn't be forced. Now, if you're going, if it's forced or not, a forced relationship.
Right.
So, and then you get the other person in a position to actually do something they don't really want to do. They don't really want to deal with you. But they're going to say, okay, I'll come. But really in their heart of heart, they don't want to be there.
No, not at all.
Sometimes people invite you to an event. Hey, you want to come to the baby shower or barbecue? Yep. You're like, hey, yeah. But really, you don't want to go.
You really don't.
The only reason and part of the reason why you said yes, because you didn't have an excuse on deck.
But y'all let us know. I mean, I know, again, so many of my homegirls are very cool with dudes that can't rock with a whole bunch of women because of this, this competition thing that flares up amongst women that, all right. Some believe that it goes back to just our innate instincts that there's, generally speaking, there's been more women than men. So competition, for a mate and stuff like that. Well,
even when we talk about that, so even let's bring it back on us as men.
Right.
Or everyone as a totality. Mm-hmm. Does your success, your success shouldn't equal my downfall or me feeling less than or feeling that I lost something. I should be able to celebrate in your win. It should inspire me. If you win in a certain way, say for instance you get a new job, I should feel inspired. Hey, he did it. I could do it.
But what's the thing in us that makes us not that way?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it again that my ego is hit because I'm not where I want to be? You know what I'm saying? One of my homeboys, Timmy, always tells me is that it's oftentimes that I can rock with somebody that's not better than me because they don't show me where I come up short. And when I see you, if I look at Skeens, y'all, you know, he's about 6'2". I'm 5'6" on a good day. If I'm not securing me, seeing him every day would show me where I come up, no pun intended, short. You see what I'm saying? But with security within myself, that's who he is. That's fine. I'm who I am, and that's fine.
So basically, I guess we're saying that people don't enjoy what they see in the mirror.
Here we go.
So part of that hatred that I have towards you is me breaking the mirror.
There you go.
Which equals, as they say, the 7 years of bad.
Right.
But that is kind of entailed that hatred that you have towards someone else,
right,
really fuels your demise.
Right.
It's fuel, and you're building fuel into the fire instead of saying, "Hey, let me correct certain things about myself." I have some kind of hatred and envy towards someone else, and it's eating me up on the inside.
Right. But it really is not that person. It's unresolved things within yourself that you haven't dealt with. I dealt with it a long time ago that I was going to be short. And I had to still be me.
Okay, let's take it a different angle, right?
Okay.
As we say, your success is my downfall.
Uh-huh.
What if you see your ex?
Okay.
And your ex is in a happy, fulfilling relationship.
Looking good, smelling good, smiling, skin look good.
Some people see that ex and all of a sudden, or have ill will towards that ex. Now, we don't know how things ended, so let's take that out of it. But to have ill will towards your ex, and let's take it a step further. You're with someone.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
You're with someone, and you see your ex with her new guy, or your ex-boyfriend with his new girl, and you start feeling some type of way about that person. That shows that you have unresolved issues,
right?
And you still have some feelings toward that person. And if you still have feelings toward that person, can you honestly say that you're giving the person you with your all? Because you still left something back there.
Yeah. Well, that's why they talk about closure. That's what closure is. That's what they talk about. You know, before I remember people used to always talk about closure when I was young, and I'd be like, but really it's closing that thing off and finishing it. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing with the ex, I know we always joke around. It's funny when you'll see somebody that's been with said person for 5-10 years, and then all of a sudden they, you know, after the fact they was trash. Like, okay, come on now, stop it.
So if they was trash, so were you.
You were also that,
because
that's a reflection of you.
Yeah,
that is also a reflection of you.
As we talk about, you just didn't like what was in the mirror.
So it makes me think about two Skeens when we was talking about this is me, agree or disagree. I was always challenged when I would see, and we had a discussion about this in our group chat, when I would see, I brought it up to the fellas, I was like, man, I've been seeing Jada Pinkett crying over Tupac all these years later. When I see her in interviews, I was challenged by that, thinking if that was my girl and I saw her crying over an old flame, that would make me feel like there was something still there. Now, it's 6 or 7 of us in the group. They've pretty much flamed me and told me that I was tripping and trying to control my wife's thinking too much.
Well,
but I said, there's not too many women I know where the dude could be crying over. Now, again, y'all, I'm not negating the fact that Tupac went out a certain, him and Jada had a relationship that was romantic at a point, but from what I understand, at the end they just had a very tight friendship. And how he, his untimely demise, was very tragic. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but I'm just looking at it from the aspect of, to me, it felt like there was a connection that was there. And for me, in my relationship, I want to represent understanding that I can't be everything, right? But I want to feel like I'm my girl's number one.
Best friend. Yeah.
I'm the number one option.
And you think about Will, he's literally chasing ghosts.
Right.
So you know how they say a person's legend increase as time goes on.
Yeah.
Tupac really left at a height.
Yeah, he was at the height. Yeah. He's at the height of his powers.
So no matter what Will do going forward,
yeah,
he really will never be able to live up to that status in her life, because when he died, he was at a certain, I guess he was at his peak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Will every day has to live with the fact that I'm still chasing a ghost and trying to live up to that person. And you will never have the opportunity to say that you have the chance to race. Right. Opportunity to say, hey, I'm gonna prove to her that I'm better for her than him, because he's not here to defend himself.
Now, he has recently said that, he was at a good place. He did feel some type way. And I had to take my hat off to him, because he's at a place of maturity that, maybe I'm not, where he said that he's at a place where it doesn't. But it was a point where he did feel some type of way about that place that Tupac held in her life.
Because he held a lot of real estate.
A whole bunch of real estate. Anyway, man. And
to cry that much over someone else.
Again, I try to put myself in her shoes, because of, again, trying to be fair, taking the romantic the position.
Yeah, we're not just talking about the romance.
Just the place that we understand that you have to get to with a woman to be in that place with them like that.
And
like you talking about the mental real estate you have to occupy.
Mental real estate holds more weight,
absolutely,
than anything physical.
Absolutely. And women, y'all can attest to that. That you could see women, because of how women are generally more emotionally wired in a certain way than women are. Than men are. That women can be moved by work, and we know what it takes to gain and navigate and chisel and get into that place with a woman.
Because us as guys, let's keep it real. We've seen some women with guys like, how did he pull up?
Right.
Now, and it's not always the guy with the money. It'd be some guy like, yo, how he?
No.
Because he understood that he must tap into her mental.
Yes,
first.
Absolutely.
And he understands that I need to really focus on that. I may come up short in the physicality standpoint compared to a bodybuilder or whatever, but I'm going to take a creative approach and attack it a certain way, and he's winning.
Right. It's guys, there's a
look at Biggie said black ugly
however I stay coochie down to the side. Anyway, I stumbled upon this YouTube channel, and I sent you he has a whole bunch of interviews. I think it's like in maybe Skid Row in California. Mm. But this guy's a director. I can't think of his name, but the name of the channel, y'all, is called Soft White Underbelly. And he interviews crackheads, meth heads, homeless folks, escorts, pimps, all this stuff. And he just sits in there and have conversation with them. Is in the parts where he talks with the pimps, talking about mental real estate. I can't remember this guy's name, but he's like, how did you get started? And he was just like, I was doing this and that. And again, talking about a woman's mind, he was like, hey, I just asked her if she want to get down with this pimping and da-da-da-da-da. And, it's just crazy because sometimes you think, how could you get somebody to that point where they go out, sell themselves,
and bring the money
back all of the proceeds to you?
Yeah. they don't even keep the tent like in a church. They give it all to you.
All of it. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's talking about mental real estate. But
And also, as you talk about the Skid Row, think about the level of commitment is stupid, but it's not really stupid. Think about the level of commitment a couple would have to each other to be together on the streets.
oh yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of relationships are transactional,
yes,
but when you both are at the bottom, we're talking about the bottom, and still have a level of commitment towards each other, that's hard to challenge. You know,
right? Because there's really you have nothing to gain at that point. You're talking about the transactional part of it.
There's nothing I get. I get an extra cardboard.
Right. Because like you said, you're at the bottom.
Yeah,
you're about as low as it can get.
I mean, I guess we all kind of desire companionship, so I will get it that from that aspect, but that shows that their level of love, it may be a lot more mature than couples that you say that made it, or you can even say like Beyonce and Jay.
Right.
I can challenge and say that couple that's on Skid Row are more committed to each other than they are.
So I think the bigger conversation though is evaluating ourselves and realizing how transactional are we in our relationships. And for the most part, we're extremely transactional.
Yeah, exactly.
Extremely transactional.
Hey, let's put it on us guys again.
Yeah.
As we say, we're equal opportunists.
Absolutely. Yep. We got to get to.
If you as a guy go out with a girl, you spend all this money,
what is the
and then the expectation in the night is to get what you expect to get.
Right.
Like Nas said, owe me back.
Right.
But then if she doesn't give you what you think that you deserve, now she's this, that, and the third. Right. You gotta go out and tarnish her name.
Right.
And talk about what she is, or sometimes guys will say, "Oh, she a hoe, she a slut." Why? Because she didn't give you what you thought she was gonna get.
All of a sudden,
she wasn't all these names when you were trying to holler at her.
Right.
She wasn't all these names during that date.
Right.
But the second that you have a childlike tantrum now, or the other way, you have some women that use guys. You use for you, and some of you women will go out with guys. You will take all of the gifts.
You have absolutely no intention of this interest. Going anywhere.
So he fly you out, buy you gifts, and then you're shocked when he wants. He thinks that something more is going to come about. But this is part of having healthy communication.
Boom.
But my mindset one is to never lie to anybody.
Boom.
I'm never going to mislead you and have you thinking it's going to be something that it is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you are playing with people's mindset and you may be indirectly hinting at certain things or a certain touch or stuff, you know what you're doing.
Right.
But then I don't know why he thought. You know why?
You do know. You know. We know. We know. You know. And you know. You know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's
transactional.
Transactional. And talking about the communication piece, women. If you know that you have no intention of this going a certain place, don't even take it to that place. Because I know I had a friend years ago, and she said that she, again, talking about the transaction, she was looking for connection, but she felt the medium for exchange to gain this connection that she was looking for in men was to give of herself physically. Right? Which has diminishing returns because she would give of herself and still not get that access and connection emotionally that she was looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for men and women, and I'm going to say for men, it's key for us to understand and not just evaluate, and as we grow and mature, not to evaluate women just in this small box of, oh, her booty big, this, that, and the third. And again, as we were talking about, we're moving from looking at each other as just human doers, but as human beings. And so while me and Skeens play about, the dynamics and differences between men and women and how they think, there is a part of women that is beautiful to engage with a woman with no preconceived ideas about where this is, just evaluating and again having conversation and learning about her.
Yeah.
There's a beauty in that there, and once we develop the skill set to do that better, that will make and we establish that foundation first based on, again, I just appreciate who you are as a human being. That makes if it turns into something else, it makes it that much more better because of the foundation that we've established first.
I think every interaction or every conversation is a building block.
Absolutely.
And it's always an opportunity to learn something new.
Yeah.
Now, you as the author have the ability to write the story whichever way that you see fit.
Right.
Or now, if it becomes a horror story between the way you're that
right.
relationship is because the way
it's supposed to be a romantic comedy, but
you as the author or you and your co-author created this book to be that way. Mm-hmm. If it's supposed to be the Notebook, then you know how to take the correct steps to make it that. Mm-hmm. But we all have that opportunity. It just depends on how the mindset when we walk into something.
Right.
And are you willing to? Well, first, quit lying to each other. Mm-hmm. Let's go with that. Quit lying. Mm-hmm. Too often do we meet the representative. Mm-hmm. You meet her representative, she meets yours. You're lying on you get the date 6, 7. You still lying. If you one lie on top of the next lie on top of the next, and now you have problems trying to keep up with what you said at first.
Yes, sir.
Quit lying. Be honest. And sometimes honesty is uncomfortable, but honesty is real. And to value yourself and value the other person, be honest. You'll be amazed who gonna like it. You'll be and for those that don't like it, they weren't meant to be in your life in the first place. We talk about seasonal people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I think too. I hadn't talked about this in a long time, but I think it's worth bringing up again. As we're talking about established communication based on just who we are. The bare bones of who we are as people. And guys, what we got to think about in these relationships is, I'll use myself for example. When me and wifey got together, I'm a super communicator. She is not at all. She was not, right? But the appreciation that I had to have in the patience in this building our relationship is that at the time when we met, you got somebody that has 20 years of raising, life experience, good, bad, and different. She had 18 years, life experience, raising, and you guys bring this thing together and you're trying to line it up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's where the appreciation for just who that person is, bare bones, not the flaws in them, but just the beauty of who they are as a person has to come in so that you can slowly but surely mesh these two things together.
Yeah, it's just like when rehabbing a house. When people buy a house, you see that house at first. You see this ugly structure. They strip it down to the bare bones.
Yes, sir.
And you build it up into something beautiful.
There you go.
That the person that originally had the house didn't see.
Right. Absolutely.
And sometimes those people would invite the original owner back to see the final result. And those people are amazed by what they see. Right.
And what you're talking about, Skeens, is we all come into relationships as unfinished products. If you think you're going into a relationship as this completed thing and that you've arrived and that you're at the pinnacle of who you are, you're already starting off wrong. You have to be prepared, and as we always talk about during the work phase of the. And here's the thing, guys: the work phase of whether it's a romantic relationship or just a personal friendship relationship or a family relationship or a coworker relationship, they all have the same
Is work.
dynamics in them, right? And that's work. Number one. Number two, I say for me, number one is love, right? Number two is work, and the work in a relationship, guys, it's ongoing. It never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Too many people think, as you talk about being married, the marriage is the end goal.
Right. The marriage is the beginning.
The getting married is basically it's the first game of the regular season.
Right.
Everything leading up to it was a preseason. It was workouts. It was tryouts.
Yes. Being married is, we all hope we have a one and done, but whether you were or not, but the marriage is day one of a lifetime pursuit, of a lifetime goal that you will work that thing. And sometimes you'll see.
Too bad we have that cheesy applause button right there.
Wait. We actually do. Hold on.
I stand corrected.
Forgot to tell you we had that. But anyway, guys, me and Skeens are passionate about relationship stuff. So, but where we at? 56 minutes. So, real quick, guys, I wanted to touch on this because here recently I had a conversation. I know y'all like, Jay, you always having a conversation. Yes, this is what I do. I love having conversation. But I was talking to a friend, and, she was going through some challenges in a relationship. And in talking with her, it got my wheels turning. And this is a challenge to men of when is the time right for men to make that jump into true meaningful relationship. And when I say that jump into, I'm saying like I'm making that jump to establish marriage and family legacy. We got to think about when is the time right to make that jump. And when we decide to make that jump, again, like we were just talking about, making sure that our foundation is solid. And more importantly for me, after talking with my friend, as men, it's key for us once we make that jump into marriage and family that we understand that, okay, for Jay, it's God, wifey, kids, etc., etc. But for me as a man, I am at my best, or my ultimate goal in life is not to have my endeavors as far as career and stuff like that, and to have my family in shambles. If I'm successful in the business world and in my endeavors and my creativity, and my wife and my children and my household is in shambles, I've missed the mark.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Well, we'll hold that for another episode.
Okay.
But I'll ponder that.
You can sprinkle. Go ahead, sprinkle if you want.
I did the thought as you talk about that.
Yeah.
If one of your friends,
okay,
right, us as guys,
okay,
you have one of your friends that is a horrible father, like he is not in his kid's life at all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pay child support. Don't care to see his kids.
Yep.
And we're not talking about the dynamics of having a horrible situation in terms of co-parenting. We're just talking about not having a desire to be in your kid's life.
Right, right.
Can you still rock with that person? Does that affect your relationship?
It should.
And we'll talk about that later. But it
should.
Just a thought.
And the real where Skeens is going, and we'll talk about it, is that unfortunately, if we're honest with each other as men, we have still kicked it, hung out, and supported in one way or another dudes that didn't have nothing to do with their kids.
Yeah. So yeah,
we'll touch that later, though.
We'll go a little bit more in depth. But yeah, as you was talking about, you do have to have a healthy, as they tell us at work, a work-life balance.
Yes, sir.
And you can't become so engulfed with work that you neglect your home.
Yeah.
As they say, if you don't take care of home, somebody else will.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you was talking about, you do have to figure out, should I accomplish my goals first before I
get ready to make the jump,
because I want to say, hey,
you got to make that decision.
I want to have a healthy foundation. So I'm going to make sure that I have these different things aligned: house, car, my career going a certain way before I commit to someone, because I want to be able to present them this and say, this is what I come to the table with.
Right.
Now, the flip side, some people want to get married or have kids early, and you say that, hey, we all going to grow together. Part of the growing pains, I have my kids so early enough that I can still enjoy all the activities. I grow with them as well as with the early marriage. Hey, we with high school sweethearts, and we're gonna go from there.
Yeah.
So it is. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't allow outsiders to sway you or pressure you into getting married at a certain point when you're not ready. And
Right.
sometimes people fall victim to that, and you can fall victim to that by your mate telling you, hey, I'm ready to be married, when you know in your heart of heart you're not ready.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that other person has to respect it. Sometimes you may have to grow apart. And that is what it is. If it's meant to be, it will. And if that person respects you, they will allow you to grow, because if not, that resentment will grow within you. And your heart is going to harden, and you're going to take it out on her and the kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think, again, as men in our society, we've been socialized to think that once again, guys, as men, we're not just in provider mode, superhero mode, that kind of thing as men. Our journey as men, the masculine journey, it's an all-encompassing thing. Sometimes your dad is going to be corrector. Sometimes he's going to be provider. He is going to be out there chopping trees, slaying dragons. But also, the communication has to be there. Your father has a tender side where he can come and pull you to the side, encourage you, things like that.
Can't say I never have my dad. I love my dad, though.
Again, he was in a different place in the journey. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but we have a great relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Every family dynamic is totally different.
It's different. And as men, we can't conquer, again, the workforce and let our family fall to the weight. That means that you didn't meet the goal then. You didn't meet the goal if your family life is in shambles, but you're progressing. You're a CEO. You're this and that and the third, or whatever accolades you want to throw on it. And your wife and your kids are falling to the wayside. And oh, by the way, as people of color, we can't have another fractured family.
Yeah,
we can't. We don't need to have another fractured family. Is it going to happen? Yeah, but the goal is that we got to understand that a part of us trying to reach these goals as a community comes from us having healthy families that are together. One of the biggest things in the African American community, whether it's education rates, poverty, all of these things, Skeens, the biggest factor on it is having the mother and the father together.
Even when one of the Jay-Z songs said, what's better than one billionaire? Two.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same
it's not
thing.
The money.
Yes.
The billionaire is the healthy relationships, the healthy families.
Yes.
So one family was better than one healthy family, a community.
A community, absolutely. Absolutely. And we know things happen. But I think if we start to, again, evaluate these things at the beginning, with always, guys, every week we're going to talk about open, honest communication is the foundation. And we do that kind of stuff from the beginning, we wouldn't see ourselves in these predicaments a little later down the road. And it just, for me, it always hurts me when I see a fractured family. Every time I see one, it's just like, man, another one. And that's what we're trying to do is, again, trying to build these healthy, complete relationships that, again, guys, with the healthy, complete relationships, when things go awry, because they will, we'll be able to navigate that because the foundation is there. It makes it so much easier to navigate the challenges in the work phase of the relationship when the foundation is there, because the roots are strong. You can't be cast. The Bible talks about being cast to and fro by every wind of doctrine. You won't be cast to and fro because you're on solid foundation in the relationship. And then when you build that family dynamic, the kids are better off. And then those kids then have a better formula to build a family dynamic, and so on and so forth, until we have this beautiful, blossoming, growing community of people that are self-sufficient, that are owning. We got people in the community that are resolving issues with each other where we're not doing it violently. All of this is a byproduct of building these strong foundations at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It was just like two popular media guys that we like. One guy says something on the show, another guy comes out and he's all in his feelings about it, and really it was resolved in a phone call.
Yeah. Especially if you had a relationship, you talk about what this person had did for you.
Right.
They put you on game, they did these different things, and one I guess misinformation.
Right.
You got in your feelings and you had a lot of estrogen being displayed.
Right.
And then you later come back and say, "Oh, you know what? I was wrong."
Right.
Everything is not meant to be. It doesn't have to be told to the masses.
Nope.
So sometimes I think it takes more to actually have a real conversation, to come to you man to man and talk to you.
It does, yeah.
'Cause anybody can flail and say this and that and whatever. As they say, it's either anybody can shoot a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody willing to knuckle up?
There we go. Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
and then the remix of this show is going to be, when is the right time to kick her to the curb?
Ooh. Because there's a right time for that too.
Or
Him or her. Him or her.
Yeah,
We try to be fair. We try to be fair. But y'all, we about hour and some change in. We ain't trying to hold y'all too long, man. We appreciate y'all for spending time with us. Again, be safe, be blessed. We love you guys. Again, Better Than Your Average is the movement. That's the channel. How Did We Get Here is the show. Signing off from my man Skeens. I'm your boy Jay Carter. We'll see y'all next time.
Allah.